This journey started for us back in 2007. I was working on the board of a medical organization here in Denver that wanted to consider whether going to Phnom Penh and building a hospital was a good idea for the organization. And I volunteered to go with our family and live there for 2 months and do the kind of groundwork needed to answer that question for the organization. Our twins were 11, and our youngest daughter was just about to turn 9.
Honestly, I just thought we were going to go there. Bill's going to be doing this medical thing, and I'm always up for an adventure, so why not? Boy, I had no idea it was going to be a life-changing trip.
We found a place to live in Phnom Penh, and I began working on the medical project there. Busy days, late nights, and so Lori says,
Why don't we go away for a little break, get out of the city and go down to the beach?
I'll take the girls and you can stay here with the team and put in your long hours to get the work done. While she's at the beach, she teamed up with a gal who is an intern at an organization fighting trafficking in Cambodia, one that we had been supporting for many years.
As I woke up the last morning that we were going to head back to Phnom Penh, I had this vivid impression that it wasn't time to leave yet. I was talking with Bill and he said, well, why don't you stay down another day? And I thought, yeah, that seemed to fit better. I didn't know why. And at the same time, the intern who we brought with us said, our organization has recently rescued some girls from trafficking in this very brutal brothel down here. And we have to prep them and counsel them to get ready to speak to the judge.
In Cambodia, no matter what the age of the girl, she has to stand up, face her perpetrator, and accuse them of the crime that they committed.
I said, could we do anything for you? Could we have you for dinner? Little did I know that we'd have everybody, translators, directors, social workers, and then about 7 girls that they had rescued.
And they also happened to be celebrating my daughter Molly's 9th birthday. These were young Vietnamese girls that had been probably sold by their family or had run away to Cambodia and then had been sold. Some of them may have been orphaned. Some of them were just sold because the family had too many children and they didn't know what to do with them. Once they're sold into the prostitution system, a series of pimps and handlers takes them from town to town and sells them in brothels for the use by mostly foreign men that come to Cambodia for the purpose of having sex with children.
I remember being nervous, not really knowing what to expect, and kind of freaked out, but just kind of went along with it.
Kind of walking up and being hesitant and like, hi. Okay, they've been through something. I'm not really sure what they've been through, but we're just gonna go have dinner and happy birthday, Molly, you know. We started walking down the beach to the restaurant and the translator was there, so we kept asking them questions and then we started giggling and laughing. And
while we were walking, I just noticed the girls were starting to interact. At the same time, the social workers were also just trying to keep an eye on them because now that these girls have been brought back to the community they had been rescued out of, the natural inclination is to run or to even want to go back into that situation. Of course, it's abusive, but it's often like people feel in a gang. It's family. It's a sense of rhythm and belonging. And maybe as a young girl, they hold this high responsibility to take care of their parents financially as they're getting older. So there's a lot of pulls to want to go back into that situation. So they're also watching to see if they're going to run that evening.
We were all very ignorant to sex trafficking since we were so young. And so I think that helped us in a way because when we had dinner, we were just ourselves and we thought they were just like any other girl. Molly was really excited. She she's crazy. And so I think the girls loved her because she would sing songs and quote movies, and she was just a total goofball. And I'm so glad she was there because she really made everyone feel very welcome.
Molly would tell jokes and they would giggle, and then I would giggle, and then we'd all start laughing and just being girls.
And I think what was happening was that they were enjoying a meal at a nice place without an agenda.
As I sat down and started to listen to the girls with the little English that they could speak, I could tell that when they said that they were 18 or 16, I wasn't buying it.
They said, "Oh, I'm 20, I'm 21." And I'm like, you don't look like you're 21 at all. You look like you're 15. You look super young.
I was sitting next to one of these girls. She giggled next to me. And then I had no words to describe what I experienced then, because she giggled in a way that just gave me the biggest knot in my stomach. And I knew that this was not an older girl. This was a little girl. And that really changes things when you think about that. This put a face on the issue like nothing I had ever experienced before. This could be your daughter.
The walk back was really amazing. We were all walking with our arms linked into each other, and we were like dodging these little crabs.
The crabs were everywhere, and we'd all freak out at the same time and like scream and run over this way, and then the water would kind of come up and touch some of our toes, and we'd be like, oh my gosh, it's cold, and so we'd like run off some other way. And I don't know, it was just like hanging out with my good friends.
A moment of happiness, just like seeing the smiles on their faces and childlike innocence, because we just had fun, and they probably hadn't been able to do that in a really long time. It was just sad saying goodbye because we probably wouldn't ever see them again, and knowing that that was all we could do was really heartbreaking for us.
I felt sad because they were my new friends and they just left, and I feel like we bonded so well, and then they had to go.
God, what am I supposed to do with that? And have I exposed my kids to too much? And there's going to be more questions. What do I do right now? Because I could just feel this heaviness.
Coming back into the hotel room, it was really quiet, and we all went into separate rooms, and like we had no desire to be with each other. We just kind of wanted to be on our own.
I wanted to help, and there just didn't seem like any other way. And going to dinner, it's like not that big a deal. It just kind of felt pointless.
Words couldn't describe what we had just experienced. They never will. But we knew that this was a profound moment.
I remember my mom bringing us all together, and we just cried.
And I just said, if we're going to cry, I think we need to do all of this together, because I'm right here. I feel the exact same way you do.
I was able just to kind of like let it all go, and it felt good that we all felt the same thing. We realized that we felt more powerless than anything at that moment. We wanted to do so much more. I just remember being really, really angry at God for not fixing what was wrong with them.
She said, Mom, you say that we believe in God, and I'd like to know where he is. You know, I think that's a really good question. And I could feel her anger, her just righteous anger. Where are you? Where are you? And we had a very angry prayer, and it was something along the lines of, we don't know what to do with what we've just experienced, but you need to do something. And we just kind of demanded, God, it's time to show up. I mean, our hearts were so broken, but I think God was like, I am right here with you, and my heart is breaking, and I'm so glad you've asked.
I just wanted God to do something crazy, and I wanted everything to be right, to be fixed.
the way that God began to answer this prayer was that Christopher Bissett, our writer and director, was called by a television station in Canada to go to Cambodia and to film with the organization that we had interfaced with. They asked him to bring back footage of what this organization was doing, how it was helping to investigate the crimes against these young girls, and how it was helping to change the situation in Cambodia. The whole experience moved him, and he came away with a story in his heart that he wanted to get down and he wanted to put into film. Well, he didn't have a phone number or an address or anything for me. The only thing he had was Lori's email address that we had given him one time in one of our encounters with him. And so he wrote Lori and said, I've been to Cambodia, I've looked at the sex trafficking of kids and worked with this organization, and I come back with a story, and I want to put it in film. What do you guys think?
And so I literally took the phone and I showed it to Bill and I said, I don't know what this means, but we've got to do this.
Prayed about it, and within a day we had gotten back to Christopher and said, let's look into what it takes to make a movie together.
There were some hard talks. We didn't know really what we were getting into. We knew that we needed to align ourselves with people a lot smarter than us. We knew this was going to probably take some financial effort beyond what we were comfortable with. And so there was some really good soul searching. Yet thinking about those girls that we met, and you know that you get a chance to share their story and to show the value that each one of them has, it was really, in a way, a no-brainer for us.
By December of 2009, we formed a company. We bought the script. We had met Jim Schmidt of Dean River Productions, and we began a plan to shoot this movie. Before you know it, we had an office open in Thailand, and we were just a few weeks away from shooting. And it's at that point that our family joined the crew in Thailand and got to watch a movie being made.
I think early on we knew that it was going to be a family experience, and we wanted it to be. We didn't want this to be just something that Mom and Dad were doing, but something that all of us could be a part of.
I was a little bit nervous to go to Bangkok at first. It was my freshman year of high school, and I didn't really want things to change so suddenly. But at the same time, I was excited to go to a new place and actually be there for a significant amount of time.
I didn't really know what was in store. I didn't know what making a movie meant, but I knew it was an awesome opportunity. Not every day does an American girl get to go over to Thailand to make a movie. Like, seriously, that's so cool.
It's got to portray truth, and it's got to portray beauty. The first month was spent in preparation, and so we worked closely with Mona Nam, who was designing the sets, and my girls got to see her thought process and the design work that they were doing. The casting was a blast. My girls got to really experience what it was like to see actors that want to be in a movie come in and read their roles.
The first day we went onto the set, it was really early in the morning. It was still dark out, and we got there, and my mind was just blown. It looked like an army.
An army of people that have one purpose and one dedication in mind.
The vans everywhere, people running around, and lights, and just all this equipment, and I was just like, oh my word, this is so cool.
The first day on the set, I had tears just because I saw so many people so focused on getting it done.
I felt like everybody was on the same page, that they believed in this issue and were willing to put their heart into it as well.
I thought it was really cool seeing all the things that go together just to make this film.
So we're here on the river on day 4 of our shooting.
Everyone was doing their own job, and there were so many lights and big machines and people running everywhere, and it was exciting, and I loved it. I was kind of surprised at how much time it took.
How long it takes just to make a movie.
How much work it took to put into 2 hours of entertainment.
It took so long.
I'm Alex Becker.
Welcome, Alex Becker.
Thank you. You'll have to excuse me, my Khmer's not great.
When you're watching a movie, 20 seconds of the film can take, half a day to film to make things perfect, things that you wouldn't even notice anyway, but it makes all that difference.
We did go over to Cambodia for a week during the early part of filming. We were meeting with girls over there who had recently been trafficked, and my girls were doing some filming of them and trying to hear their stories. We were trying to do that in a really supportive kind of way, because anytime you go in and talk with some of these girls that have been rescued or in a healing process, sometimes just your presence can be exploiting them again. So we worked very carefully with an aftercare center to eat with them and get to know them. It was a phenomenal experience.
Oh my gosh, this issue is just so big for me. There's times where I wish I knew nothing about it and was just a normal teenager. But at the same time, I feel like I wouldn't be the same person if I hadn't learned about these issues like I did. Hadn't had the same parents that I do.
In a way, doing Trade of Innocence is for those girls that we met in Cambodia back in 2007, because those girls that we met were our inspiration for our fight and our passion.
Our hopes and dreams for the film are that it moves people to action. I see now that this exists, and it's going to stop here.
I think that this subject is more horrible than any of us could ever imagine. I also believe it's more hopeful than any of us imagined.
I hope that people of all ages will come and see it. That I hope they get a sense from the movie that there is hope and that they can be a part of it, that they can make a difference.
A lot of people think you're not really making a dent in the issue if you just rescue one girl. But what if I was that one girl?
What would you do if it was your daughter? What would you do if it was your niece or granddaughter? You'd want them out. I'd want to be out if I was in it. I want to think that I was worth being fought for. This is not a hopeless issue.